If you build it, they will come is a lie. In this episode, Marketing Powerhouse, Shawn Walchef breaks down why great food and great service are no longer enough and why your digital front door matters just as much as your physical one. We dive into storytelling that actually converts, why be the show, not the commercial, is the new rule of restaurant marketing, and how authenticity, AI, and relentless consistency can turn your restaurant into a brand people can't ignore. If you want more guests, deeper loyalty, and marketing that actually works, this episode is your playbook. Welcome back to the show. Glad you're here, Shawn. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Man, you have many restaurant towns, but I would consider you to be sort of a marketing guru. So this is going to be a lot about marketing. But before we go there, what would you say diners today, in your experience, are seeking, and how can owners and GMs like really respond to what they're seeking? And then how do you stay relevant? Because that's so important. You can be hot 1 minute and totally dead the next, and it's so important to consistently provide great experiences. But how do you stay relevant, and what are they looking for?
I think humans are looking for connection, and I don't think that's ever changed. I think what separates running a restaurant in 2026 versus running a restaurant in 2008, like say when we opened up Cali Barbecue in San Diego, will have lots of different touch points before they actually come into your restaurant. So they might have seen your restaurant on Google Maps. They might have seen it on TikTok. They might have seen it on YouTube. They might have had a friend tell of another friend, oh, Cali Barbecue, you got to go try their wicked peach cobbler. You got to go try their wedding beans. So they've had an introduction the same way that they've always had since the beginning of time. But now, because of that introduction, they have a digital front door into your restaurant before they actually come. So my wife, when we go out, we were on our way to this weekend. We went to go to the wild animal park on Valentine's Day. We took our kids. I have an 8-year-old boy, a 6-year-old girl. On our way to the wild, on our
Wow.
way, on our way to the wild animal park, we used Gemini. So Gemini is an AI tool, and we said, my wife would like to have a healthy option for lunch around the wild animal park, knowing that the F&B is probably not the best on a park. So we got a bunch of local recommendations. One of the top recommendations was a place that did healthy style bowls. So they had carne asada bowls, they had shrimp bowls, they had eggs, they had, avocado toast. These are all things that my wife would like. We would have never found this restaurant if it wasn't for Gemini. And Gemini is an AI search tool that we use that's connected to your Google business profile that pulls all of the results from not just Google, but from Yelp, from Reddit, from all the different places, the LLMs. This is the way that the world is going.
Absolutely.
So if you're a restaurant owner and you're listening to this, and I know you have an amazing group of restaurant owners that listen to this, I've been a huge fan of your podcast for a long time. I want restaurant owners to know that it has never been a more exciting time and an also more terrifying time to run a restaurant because of all these digital tools. But the bottom line to your question, what do people want? They want connection. So they want to be connected. So even when I'm searching on an AI platform, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, any of those platforms, I want to feel seen. I looked at the reviews, I found the link to the website, and it was exactly what I knew my wife would love. We walked into the restaurant and she absolutely loved it because the photos were the same. The photos that they have, they weren't AI generated photos. They were real photos of plants in the restaurant, the way the layout was, the nice little patio. All of those things were all experiences. So if you're a restaurant owner and you're listening to this, you have to care about what your digital profile looks like just as much as you care about what the hostess stand looks like, about what your dining room looks like, about what your bathrooms look like. All of those places are now places that guests want to connect before they come into the restaurant. Even before they come into the restaurant, they want to know, what is it going to be like? Are my kids going to like it? Is my wife going to like it? Because I want to know. We have limited choices. We have limited time, but ultimately we want to connect. And now, because they delivered on the expectation, I'm here talking about their restaurant on Restaurant Rockstars.
So well said. And there was so much to that. Like, I heard about personal connection, which is so important. We talked about technology like every single day moving forward, and you got to be part of it. And we also talked about intimidation. But I think the key point is People are seeking connection, and I've always believed hospitality should never be replaced by technology. It should only be enhanced by it. And I think you summed that up in a way, and you really brought it home to our listeners that this is the way. This is the way people are going to find you. You got to be part of it. You got to be out there, but your digital presence needs to match the true reality of your place. It's not a smoke and mirror thing. Put yourself forward authentically in the best possible way. So, well said.
Thank you.
You have one of your mantras is be the show, not the commercial. Let's talk about that. What does that mean?
Sure. So back to my children, my son, he's 8 years old now. My daughter, she's 6. But I remember, having my boy, my first boy, my firstborn child, and growing up as a parent, eventually there was a time where we gave him a phone to watch
Yep.
YouTube Kids. And I remember watching my son, he had to have been 1, 2 maybe. We were at a party. It was like, okay, like let's give him something so that he's entertained. It's not something that I advocate for. We tried to reduce the screen time. But nonetheless, for the story, I was watching my son, a human, never having interacted with a phone before, an iPhone, watching YouTube Kids. Now, when he's watching YouTube Kids, what do you think is the first digital button that my son learns how to press?
Play button.
No.
Digital Kids. Let's see. Tell us.
Skip.
Skip. Pass forward through things he doesn't care about.
Get.
Amazing.
He learned how to hit skip and move the button so that the content, he doesn't want his stories interrupted. He was watching something and he didn't want to be interrupted with a commercial or an advertisement, even though it was a commercial about dinosaurs and he was watching a video about dinosaurs. He didn't want his stories interrupted.
Awesome. I do the
No
same.
one wants their stories.
Unless something really resonates with you, you don't want the interruption.
Even the commercials at the Super Bowl, if you're a diehard football fan, you say that you want to watch the commercials, but let's be honest, you're waiting to get back to the game. You're waiting to see touchdowns, which there weren't many touchdowns in this last Super Bowl.
Yeah, left a little to be desired, didn't it?
It did. It left a little bit to be desired, but nonetheless, humans want to be educated and we want to be entertained. We don't want to be sold to. We learn through lessons and stories, and our belief is that restaurant owners specifically, we learn through other people that we respect and admire in our cities, in our villages, in our communities, other logos, other successful hospitality professionals like Danny Myers of the world, the Will Guederas of the world. How did they do it? What tools did they use? What lessons did they have? What failures did they have? So I don't have to make those failures. The problem that most companies have that sell to restaurants is that they advertise to us. And anyone that's watching this, anyone that's listening to this, knows how hard it is to run our restaurant, yet to be interrupted on a daily basis by a liquor salesman, a food vendor, a chemical vendor, all of the people that walk through and ask for 5 minutes of your time. And it's never 5 minutes of your time. And it's right before lunch or it's right during dinner. And you're like, I don't have time to talk about pricing and how you're going to save me 25% on my bread. It's just not the right time. But we'll listen to a podcast. We'll watch a YouTube video. We'll read a book. We will engage in content where we learn a lesson or a story about a product or a service. So the premise is simple. It's be the show, not the commercial.
Now we're talking about stories, and there's a lot of restaurants out there that may have an interesting story, but they're not using it. It could be part of their branding, right? So it's like the story is really, really relevant. They're just not leveraging it. So what's your advice? It's like dig deep, figure out what makes you unique and special and different, and how do you tell that story? What's the most powerful way of telling the story once they figure out what their story is?
I think the most important thing to anyone that's watching this and listening to this, and I talk to restaurant owners all the time, I talk to tech founders about storytelling, is that we take for granted the stories that mean the most to us. We take for granted the stories that mean the most to us. We assume that because we've told the story of why we picked the location of our restaurant to 5 times, that everyone knows why I have a restaurant in Spring Valley. I have to change my mentality to say no one knows why I have a restaurant in Spring Valley. No one knows that I have 3 barbecue locations in San Diego, that we have a location at Snapdragon Stadium, that we have a location at the Navy base serving the men and women that serve our country. It's a QSR location. We're the only we're the only local brand with national brands like Five Guys and Panda Express. All of these national brands, we're the only local brand. We take our barbecue, cook it, slow smoke it on the smokers every single day, deliver it with our catering truck to the Navy base to serve the men and women that serve our country. I have to tell that story over and over and over and over again, because every single video that hits the internet, I assume that no one knows who I am.
That's
No one
powerful.
knows who we are.
Yeah.
But as restaurant owners, we hear the story of like, I picked the name Cali Barbecue. Why did you pick the name? Why did you pick the logo? Why did you hang that picture when you walk into the restaurant? You have picked certain decor in your restaurant. Why did you do it? You assume that people know the answers, but I guarantee you, not only do your customers not know the answers, but your staff doesn't. Staff that have been working for you forever. But we tend to not want to repeat ourselves, and we tend not to think that our story matters, but story is what connects humans to our businesses. That's why people come in. People come into our restaurant as they have for generations. We have kids that grew up, their grandparents took them to our restaurant back when it was a breakfast restaurant. Now they have children and grandchildren that they bring to our barbecue restaurant. Same location, different concept, all part of the family.
Ajinomoto is your answer to every busy dinner rush spent deep in the weeds. When hungry customers walk through your door, they expect good food that tastes homemade. But making every dish from scratch cuts into your profit, especially with the cost of ingredients and labor. That's where Ajinomoto Foods comes in. Ajinomoto has a huge catalog of fast, easy to prep frozen Asian products that taste and look homemade. That includes classics like fried rice, dumplings, and onion rings, and new trendy fusion plates like kimchi chicken pot stickers. Choosing Ajinomoto is choosing over 100 years of proven expertise in the food service space. Choose to save time and money in your busy kitchen without compromising on the quality your guests expect. Learn about Ajinomoto at ajinomotofoodservice.com. What about colors and logos and fonts and vibe of the place and all the little details that matter? They're all marketing elements, right? So
Yeah.
tell us about Cali Barbecue. You talked about the story, you talked about the slow cooking and the smoking and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and the locations. What else of the story is part of your branding? Like, tell us about your colors and your logos and what makes you stand apart from all those national chains like Five Guys and whatnot.
Well,
There's a
number
million.
one, yeah,
Tell us.
number one, we are an oxymoron because anyone that does barbecue in the United States and the Meccas and the Texases of the world and the St. Louis and the Memphis, they don't think that California can make great barbecue. Just like people in California don't think that there's great Mexican food outside of California. Whether that's true or not, that's part of the story. So part of the story is we are distinctly from California. We take parts of our barbecue from St. Louis, which is where my pitmaster, Gene Goycochea, was on the Kansas City Barbecue Society World Championships. He won championships. He organized festivals. He helped us get an Old Hickory smoker, which was our first smoker that we brought to our restaurant. That became, instead of California Comfort Restaurant and Sports Bar, which was how we marketed in the beginning, because we thought that we could optimize and make sure that people knew that we were a sports bar, and we realized the name is way too long. We cut it down to Cali Comfort Barbecue. And then eventually, once we opened up multiple locations, we became just Cali Barbecue. But what's most important to anyone that's listening to this is that every single part of your story is interesting. The problem is we don't think it's interesting. And we think of creating social media content that we have to become actors. And what I tell restaurant owners all the time is that you just need to start thinking in story. Think about the stories that happen, the humans that happen, the people that mean so much to you that run our restaurant. We have a pitmaster. Her name is Bernice. She is absolutely phenomenal. On Father's Day, she'll smoke 225 racks of ribs, fabricate the ribs. I'll go live on TikTok, watch her going through the process of fabricating these ribs, seasoning these ribs, putting them on the smoker, wrapping the ribs, taking them off the smoker, putting them back on the smoker. I tell her story because her story is almost more important than my story. It's not about me. And like, that's the craziest part about storytelling is it's not about you, but you have to be the one to do it because no one's coming. Ultimately, what I figured out when we were about to go out of business in 2008, 2009, 2010, the very beginning of running our restaurant, I realized, I thought if we make great barbecue, if we provide phenomenal hospitality, if we're off the beaten path in a tough location, people will want to come out there. Maybe the local newspaper, maybe the local news are going to come and write a story about us, and then more people will come. No one came. We were literally going to go out of business. No one is coming. And anyone that's watching this, anyone that's listening to this, once you accept that fact, that Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, James Earl Jones, if you build it, they will come, that is a lie. If you build it, they're not coming. No one's coming. If you accept that no one's coming and you accept the fact that you have something valuable, sell that idea, tell that story, because you told the story to a significant other, right? In the beginning, before you started the restaurant, you go, hey, to your best friend, to your mom, to your dad, to your wife, to your husband, hey, I got this great idea. I'm going to open up this barbecue restaurant, sports bar. We're going to take a liquor license. We're going to take a breakfast concept. We're going to turn it into a barbecue business. That's a crazy idea. But I had to speak that to someone in real life, which was my best friend from college, and go, hey, do you want to partner with me? And he goes, it's kind of a crazy idea, but yeah, let's go ahead and let's do it. And then we had to go and convince our first hire, which was Eric Olafson, who's my business partner. But we had to convince him, hey, do you want to come open up a bar? We don't have a bar. We need you to build the bar program. We had to sell him that vision that this is going to be bigger than a restaurant. But all of those things happen. Anyone that's watching this, listening to this, you probably have a restaurant that's up and running. You haven't told the stories. You got to go back. You got to go back in time. Go back to when you opened. Go back to before you opened. Go back to those conversations. The best part for me is I study comedians. And I study comedians because they tell jokes hundreds and thousands of times before they tell the big joke on their Netflix special. When they go to the stadium and they have their big event, they've told that joke thousands and thousands of times. Yet as restaurant owners, we think, oh, I've already talked about why we put on a barbecue festival. No, I put on a barbecue festival for 10 years, an amateur barbecue festival. We shut down the street in front of the restaurant. We invited every barbecue restaurant in San Diego to come and sell barbecue in front of our restaurant, our direct competition. We invited them. We shut down the street. We had thousands of people. We invited other caterers. We invited amateur barbecue teams. We raised money for local youth sports. But that's part of our history. And if I don't share that, who's going to share it? No one.
In a way, you are an influencer for the barbecue crew in your whole, community. And that speaks volumes about credibility. It's like you put yourself out there and you were not afraid to help promote the competition. And that just made you rise above the competition in my mind. So that's pretty awesome. And something you said really triggered a thought. 30 years ago, I started my second restaurant. It was a steakhouse. And I thought that whole thing, if you build it, they will come. Highly visible location, bought the land, built the building, 1,200 feet of road frontage. Every single car driving to the major ski resort that I'm located at has to pass by twice. I thought this is a home run. And I remember for the first week or two or three, or the first month, I'm standing in the window watching 30 or 40 cars just drive by for every one that would pull into the parking lot. And I was pulling my hair out saying, what's the deal here? And I suddenly realized, people are creatures of habit. And if they've always gone to a place, they're going to keep going. And it's rare to break them apart to try something new. So I had to get creative. It was all about hooks. What can we do to make ourselves wacky and stand out and create more visibility for the place? And we did all sorts of things that worked. And then collectively over time, we started to get more and more of the business. And then we went head to head with the leaders in the industry, not the industry, the leaders in the community, all those big restaurants that did live music, and we did it too. And we dominated the competition after that for 20 years. But we had to be relentless. And you know what I'm talking about, right? This is guerrilla marketing. It's not traditional, let's buy a radio ad or let's do this or that. It's like, what can you do that no one else is doing that captures the public's imagination? So you're speaking my language. Positioning, Shawn. The very heart of marketing is positioning. For those of us who are listening that aren't marketing experts like you, what does that mean to you? And what should it mean to restaurants? What if your POS did more than ring up orders? What if it actually ran your restaurant? Touch Bistro is an all-in-one cloud-based POS and restaurant management system designed exclusively for restaurants. They help you run smarter, faster, and more profitably. Touch Bistro brings front of house, back of house, and guest engagement into one easy platform. From patented bill splitting and real time inventory to labor, profit tracking, loyalty, online ordering, and reservations, it's all connected. Touch Bistro is built for restaurants and built to perform. For operators listening in the US or Canada, Touch Bistro is helping restaurants get started for less with savings on upfront costs for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Head to touchbistro.com/restaurant rockstars for more details and see how much you can save.
So positioning is marketing language, and I like to break things down to the simplest form. Positioning in my mind is truth. It's easy to have a position when it's the truth. So stop bullshitting people and just speak the truth. When you speak the truth, it vibrates the fastest. And anyone that's watching, anyone that's listening, you've all gone and listened to a panel of experts at a trade show. You've gone and heard a keynote speech. You know when someone's bullshit. You know when someone's telling you.
Definitely. Yep.
You know when someone tells the truth. I remember being in college and I thought I was going to study business, and I went to business classes. I was bored out of my mind. I could not wait to get out of the class. I was like, I thought I loved the game of business. I thought I loved entrepreneurship. The time that I got engaged the most is when they brought in an entrepreneur and he told his story. He or she came up on stage and they go, "This is what I did." And they speak the truth, because that is the position. The position is, hey, I failed. You know, in the pandemic, we opened up 3 ghost kitchens and we closed all 3 ghost kitchens. I've failed, but I share that story because that's my truth. I wanted to know, can we become the Amazon of barbecue? Can we serve more barbecue to more people using this ghost kitchen model? We opened up ghost kitchen. It was low cost to open up. We added more smokers, but ultimately it didn't work for us. I've shared those on our YouTube channel. Those are some of our best performing videos. Is why the ghost kitchen model failed. Why does it work? It works because we say the numbers. This is what our rent was. This is what our sales were. This is what the commissions were to third-party delivery. This is what we thought our cost of goods were. People learn when you share the truth. When you fall, you know, one of my favorite things teaching my children when they were growing up was, why do we fall? We fall so we can learn how to get back up. Yes, Batman. No one wants to talk about the failure, but that's the position. The position is the failure. The position is the truth. When you speak the truth, people pay attention.
Besides some of the things you've already shared with us, are there any marketing strategies that just really stand out as being out of the park home run grand slams that you've done? And obviously you failed at certain things. We thought this was going to be a great idea and it bombed. Let's talk about both sides of the coin. What really, really worked, and then what might have failed that you thought was going to work?
Sure. So, I mean, the barbecue festival definitely worked by doing something bigger than ourselves outside of the 4 walls. That required us to think differently. That required us to ask for help. One of the most powerful things anyone can do, I talk about it all the time. It's what my grandfather taught me. It's one of my biggest weaknesses, and I talk about it so I remind myself to, Shawn, ask for help. But asking for help of our community. When you think of something bigger, when you raise money for local youth sports, we say a rising tide lifts all ships. You know, we didn't compete with those other barbecue brands. We asked them for help. We asked them to participate. We asked them to get involved. They came and we participated in, you know, what became a 10-year annual event. I mean, we put that on for 10 years. And then at the end, for 4 years, we were doing an amateur barbecue event and a professional barbecue event, Kansas City barbecue event at the Del Mar racetrack. So, I mean, talk about something that took a lot of time, took a lot of effort, took a lot of bandwidth. I mean, it was a separate business, but because we did it, we learned so much about community. We learned so much about storytelling. We learned so much about marketing, understanding that you have to market the event before it happens. Not only do you have to market it before it happens, but you got to capture content during the event so that next year you have proof of concept when you're going to ask sponsors, hey, we're going to put on a barbecue festival and there's going to be thousands of people on the street. This is a great demographic. You should give back. Well, here's a video showing what we just talked about. Showing is the proof. That was definitely one of the most successful things that we've done. And we've done every type of marketing possible. I mean, 2008 when we opened, so I'm old enough to know what it was like advertising in the yellow pages. Like I said, we are a California comfort restaurant and sports bar. I paid money for Yellow Page ad. I paid money for radio ads. I paid money for, get one flyers, get buy one, get one free flyers. We did Groupon back when Groupon was a thing. I mean, you name it, we've failed miserably. We've done 50-cent wings, $2 tacos. We did ladies' night promotion where we discounted martinis half off for women. We got sued because of that from 3 male plaintiffs that said that we were discriminating against them. You name it, we've done it and we've failed, but we keep getting back up. We keep getting back up.
Like sometimes bad press is still good press because it brings attention to you. Did that work out? Like, okay, you got sued for this discrimination thing, and most people would say that's ridiculous, but didn't it draw attention maybe to your place?
Not really. I mean, it wasn't big enough, I don't think, thankfully, to make it to the press level. Thankfully, we settled out of court. But to your point, I think the most important thing is to try and to get back up. To try to get back up, to listen to podcasts like this, to reach out to people like you that have been there, that have done that. My grandfather, he taught me stay curious, get involved, ask for help. Curious people listen to podcasts. Curious people watch YouTube videos. Curious people read books. Curious people go to conferences. But then you have to do something with it. You can't just listen over and over to the episodes. If someone says something, do it. Try it.
Yeah.
Take action. When I was growing up, my grandfather, I never met my father. My grandfather, Bulgarian immigrant, he raised me. He cared about education. He would always say, Shawn, are you sitting in front of the class? I'm like, come on, Grandpa. I don't sit in front of the class. I sit in the back with my friends. That's where, we all play sports together. We all sit in the back of the class. He's like, every year he would go, Shawn, are you sitting in front of the class? Are you asking questions? And it wasn't until I got much older that I realized sitting in front of the class and getting as close as you can to the source. So if you go and you hear a keynote speaker, do you go and ask questions afterwards? Why would you not? If they said something that was compelling and they're available and they're accessible, it doesn't matter how successful they are, why would you not go and ask them? Why would you not go and share something that moved you, the truth, the positioning that moved you? And then finally asking for help. It's never been easier to ask for help. So many people are now accessible because of platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and email. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They don't respond to your email? Ask again. Show up when they're speaking somewhere. Ask for help. Somebody has had that problem. Don't have to go and solve it by yourself.
You don't ask, you don't get. And that's one of my mantras that goes so far back. You're absolutely right. And put yourself in the room for sure, because you never know what the next domino is. You never know what could come from any connection like that. So that's
100%.
absolutely. But we also talked about non-trackable marketing, and I see so many operators out there throwing money at what I call experiments, and the chances that they're actually going to pay off are pretty slim. And like you mentioned, a radio spot, right? You could create a radio spot and you could think, oh, this is great. And then it runs and it runs and it runs. But how do you know that those people are actually coming in the door because of that radio spot? Unless everyone walks through the door, says, hey, Shawn, I heard you on the radio and that brought me into Cali Barbecue, right? And that's a very expensive experiment. With that said, did you or do you have and do you recommend having a strategic marketing plan of tried and true things, whether you have a leader in this store or that store, and you kind of consistently do the same things that are proven to convert?
100%. I mean, I think, some of the most important things that we do on a daily basis is understanding we own email. It's never been easier. If I could go back in time and we could have Toast instead of Aloha for the years that Toast came to market, like the amount of emails that we've collected now because of digital transactions when somebody, actually purchases it. I mean, we have 35,000 customers on our Toast email list, but those customers don't do us any good if we don't give them something compelling to open up the email. If we don't track, if we don't segment, if we don't use that list to actually drive conversions. So, back to be the show, not the commercial. Like, no one wants to be like, hey, buy barbecue, buy barbecue. Oh, by the way, hey, Roger, did you know you could buy barbecue today? Like, yeah, I got it, Shawn. I already got the email for the last, 10 days. You keep sending an email about buying barbecue. No, we have to be better as marketers and understand, the CRM, understand the behavior of, hey, these people here in this segment of my Toast list, they order catering. They never come to Spring Valley. Why would I send them an email saying, hey, come buy barbecue on Father's Day at Spring Valley? They don't care. But I definitely should send them an email whenever they order their catering for, their holiday party. I definitely should send that 2 months out so that we get on the list and we're top of mind when they're making decisions for Thanksgiving or for their holiday party. The only way to do that is to have a plan in place. And to your point, as much as I believe in social media, there are tried and true methods of taking care of the customer that walks in the door to
Yes.
have them come back and to make them feel welcome.
Nice. Now, what about AI? We talked about that at the beginning of this, and AI is taking over everything. And yes, there is an intimidation, but there's also simple AI platforms that'll do it for you. Like you could do a whole social media campaign. There are platforms where if you feed it video, quick videos that you take on your phone or even screen still shots and plug that in, they can create these amazing campaigns and then it automatically runs on a schedule and all that kind of stuff. Do you recommend this or do you still recommend that that an operator do it themselves or have an employee that's a social media person to do it and authentically do it? What do you think about that?
So, number one, I think those are two different questions. AI should absolutely be tested and used. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Toast IQ has a phenomenal AI platform, but that's really for text-based inquiries of like, how do we take the data that we have as restaurant owners and what do we do with that data? So, one of the easiest things that we do is we record our manager meetings. So every week we record our manager meetings. We take the transcript of the meeting and we put it into ChatGPT. So because we have the paid version, which is $20, we actually collect information on what have we been talking about? What have we been talking about? What have we been planning? And how do we coordinate that information to make operational decisions using artificial intelligence? Now, social media, on the other hand, there are lots of tools, AI tools for video to your point. You can make AI images. What I truly believe is what I believed in 2008 is that when we started doing marketing for our restaurant, I can't remember who it was. It was a local vendor was talking about, oh, you need to update your menu and have photos of things on your menu. Well, if you don't have the photos, you can use a stock image. And I was like, but that's not my burger. That's not my ribs. I
Right,
don't
right.
the stock image on my menu. I'd rather have a shittier looking photo that's actually what someone's going to get when they come into my restaurant. And I believe today with video and social, you can
Mhm.
use AI tools to make a video if you don't want to make a video, but it's way better if you just use what you have. We all have a 4K camera in our pocket. We all have access to the internet. We all can use YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. We don't have to pay them any money. Yes, you're going to give them your data, but people are on those platforms. Speak the truth and use video. It's never been easier. And if you don't want to do it, ask for help. Someone in your restaurant knows how to use TikTok. Someone in your restaurant knows how to use Instagram. Someone that visits your restaurant would go, hey, we're hiring for a local part-time social media manager. Does anyone in my city, in my community, know somebody that's good at marketing? And I guarantee you, you'll have so many applications you won't know what to do with because there are great creators out there who are great at telling a story that need an opportunity and they need a local business that can help support them with, stable income. And we're not talking about a lot of money that you have to pay them either.
It all comes back to your story, right? It's
Always
all
comes
coming.
back to the story.
Is there a proven formula for content that converts? If we're talking about social media, what should be posted that's more likely to get business in the door? Or should it vary all the time? Is it a mix of this and a mix of that? What do you do?
So the best advice that I can give to anyone that's watching or listening to this is the equation to quality content on the internet. And the equation is this: it's quantity plus speed plus consistency will eventually equal quality. Everything that prevents a restaurant owner from posting is that they see something that they want, the best video. We want the best version. I see another restaurant, oh, they make great Instagram videos. I want videos like that. You'll never make videos like that until you start. And you got to do a lot of them. And you got to make a lot of bad videos. and you got to do it with speed, and you got to do it consistently. It's got to be a part of what we call it smartphone storytelling. Every single day, learning how to better capture content within the four walls of your restaurant.
There you go.
Every
That's
single day.
Yeah, I've always learned, I learned so long ago, it is so much more cost effective to market to your existing guests within the four walls of your restaurant than constantly looking for new guests. And sure, you want new business, but the lifetime value of a customer, the loyal people, and how much they spend, and how often you can get them in, and how loyal they are to your place, and how they spread the word on their own social media platforms, plus tell their friends. And that is so powerful. And you just spoke to that. Let's shift gears a little bit. When in your restaurants, besides the marketing piece, which is clearly a system unto itself, let's talk about the financial piece. Let's talk about the team training piece, because your team are your, brand ambassadors. They represent your brand, and they're either turning your guests on to great experiences or they're sending them down the road to the competition. What are the vital systems that make your place tick?
I think obviously training is one of those things. Early on, we used to hire for experience. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes that we made in the restaurant game.
Had
We
made
were looking we were looking for servers with experience, bartenders with experience, and it's not that all servers and all bartenders and all managers with experience come in and do a bad job. Just it's not the right way for us to hire. Right now we hire for hunger and we hire for hospitality. Are you hungry and are you hospitable? Because we can train you how to do anything. There is nothing that we do that is rocket science. We are not launching SpaceX rockets into the atmosphere. We're cooking slow smoked barbecue that has been taught time and time again. Pitmasters, they take for a long time to train how to do it. We have a very limited set of pitmasters that actually cook the barbecue. But does that mean that we can't teach somebody who's hungry and hospitable how to cook great barbecue? Absolutely not.
Sounds like an apprenticeship in a way, right?
It
Because if
is.
someone has a passion for the food and they care about the quality and they care about the process and they care about the history and all that tradition, and if they have a mentor that they can relate to and that they can be inspired by, I mean, what a cool thing that is in this business, where you don't need a formal education. You just need, like you said, a fire in your belly and a passion for what you're doing and a willingness to learn and show up hungry and show up hospitable. That was beautiful. That's what
Hungry
it's
and
all.
hospitable.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is so great. Awesome. Well, Shawn, it's been fantastic talking to you. You shared so many nuggets of information with our audience. Yes, it was a marketing episode. My audience craves marketing episodes because so few of us are really expert at that. And again, so many experiments could be just so much more valuable if they use the story. And it all goes back to the story. So really glad you're on the show.
Roger, I appreciate it. I've been a huge fan of what you do. Thank you for helping restaurateurs all over. I hope you continue to grow your business and help more restaurateurs. We love what we do, but back to
Yeah.
the original, what my grandfather taught me is you have to be willing to ask for help. That was probably one of the, if I could go back and tell myself when I was 26 years old opening up the restaurant, what can you do differently, Shawn? It's ask for help. Find mentors, find people that have been there and have done that, so that you can find ways to not have to be the owner operator. The owner operator badge, it's not the best way to run a business. The most successful restaurateurs that I know, they don't have comp cards. They don't have keys to their restaurant. They run the business. It's a completely different mindset. And people like you're doing phenomenal work helping restaurateurs get their freedom back.
Thankful for those kind words. You're a really humble guy. You got a lot of success, but you've stayed true to your roots and you're humble. And I love that ask for help. And it all came from, the way you were raised and, your family history and all those things. So thanks for sharing all of it.
Appreciate it. And I'm weirdly available. Anybody watching, listening, reach out to me. Instagram's the fastest, at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. Would love to hear about your restaurant story. We've got plenty of shows to showcase your restaurant on.
We're going to share all those handles and the Instagram as well, and how to contact Shawn in the show notes. So don't miss that. That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Thank you so much, audience, for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors this week. I'll see you in the next one. And that's a wrap. Thank you, Shawn. That was a ball.
That was awesome.
Your biggest challenges are labor and shrinking margins. Both kill your profit. I help restaurants find and fix those leaks. Last year, I uncovered over $300,000 in lost profit in two independent restaurants and $885,000 in a 5 location pizza chain. I specialize in controlling costs to maximize profit, training managers to become leaders, training front of house staff to sell, and marketing that drives trackable, new, and repeat business. If you want more profit, less hours, and a dream team staff in your restaurant, book a free 30-minute profit strategy session with me. Email roger@restaurantrockstars.com. That's ROGER at restaurantrockstars.com.